presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are St. Louis.
Everyone's getting ready for game number 3 between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Los Angeles Dodgers tonight. The fans are filing in, ready to soak up some Cardinals baseball this evening. Matt Carpenter hopes to help the Cardinals get back to their winning ways. He and the rest of the offense will look to support Carlos Martinez as the Tsunami hopes to cap off what has been a marvelous month of May. Baseball comes your way next on Fox Sports Midwest. This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And tonight from Busch Stadium, another big crowd expected. Beautiful night for baseball. It's game number 3, the LA Dodgers and the St. Louis Cardinals. On the mound for the Cardinals, the Tsunami, number 18, Carlos Martinez, the opening night pitcher for the Cardinals. When right, he can dominate. We'll see if that will be the case this evening in game number 3. And welcome to St. Louis Cardinals baseball. That's Rick Horton. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jim Hayes is here as well. The Tsunami, Carlos Martinez, gets the call tonight. He's been great in the month of May.
An all-star a season ago with St. Louis. He's been 3-1 in May. He's back to that Carlos Martinez, dominating the strike zone, fastball averaging 95 miles an hour.
The Cardinals get a boost in the middle of their lineup. He'll bat 6th. They'll play in the outfield. That's Stephen Piscotty.
Piscotty talking it over with John Mozeliak. The Cardinals have missed him the last 5 days. Great to have him back. A season ago, Piscotty had 22 home runs and 85 RBIs, so the Redbirds hoping that he'll provide some punch in the middle of the lineup.
Piscotty is back, and a change in this lineup at the top. Dexter Fowler will bat leadoff, but following him, it's Matt Carpenter, then Yadier Molina. The Cards, the Dodgers. Game 3 next on Fox Sports Midwest. Beautiful night in downtown St. Louis. Glad that you're with us. It's Cardinals baseball tonight here in the Gateway City. It's game number 3, the Dodgers and the Cardinals. A long, and I mean long, game 2. And that meant a lot of usage of the Cardinals bullpen. Michael Wacha, 77 pitches, only lasted 3 innings. So the bullpen, 129 pitches last night. Roughed up in that game, it was Jonathan Broxton. Unfortunately for him, he's been given his unconditional release. The Cardinals have called up 24-year-old John Gant, who does have a little Major League experience a year ago with the Atlanta Braves. This year, for the AAA Redbirds, he was 0-1 with a 2.19 ERA. You may recall he was part of the Jaime Garcia deal. Baseball from downtown St. Louis is coming up. It's game 3 against the Dodgers. Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light, famous among friends. By Chevy Silverado, the most dependable, longest-lasting full-size pickups on the road. Find yours at your local Mid-America Chevy dealer. By Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all, for less. A win tonight would give the Dodgers their first single-season 7-game winning streak since April of last year. They are red hot, and really you can say that about the entire National League West division. Logan Forsythe leads it off, followed by Corey Seager, then Yasmani Grandal, the switch-hitting catcher, Adrian Gonzalez, Chase Utley, Cody Bellinger, Chris Taylor, Kike Hernandez, and Ryu, the pitcher, is batting ninth. On the mound for the Cardinals, the Hyundai pitch arsenal for Carlos Martinez.
95.5 is what his fastball averages. He has a sharp slider, a good changeup that when it's right he uses often. And the key to Martinez is just be under control and pound the strike zone. He has terrific movement, and his stuff normally takes care of business as long as he's throwing the ball over the plate.
Yodana Ventura and Oscar Taveras will etch those initials in the back of the mound. This was the 3-year anniversary of the debut of Oscar Taveras here in St. Louis, and a memorable debut that was. So Logan Forsythe leads it off. Outfield is straight away, and it's a brand new day, Rick Horton. Turn the page.
Well, you know, players talk about that all the time, turn the page, and you know, you say it and then you have to feel it, and those are two different things. But it's certainly in their character as a player. They've played years and years and years. They've lost a lot, and they've learned that you just have to go the next day and start over again. It's just the way this game is, and who knows? This could be the start of a nice streak for the Cardinals. That happened a couple of weeks ago when they went 18-6 after a rough start.
And it's 3-0. The Dodgers a season high 13 games above the 500 mark. 33 wins, tied for second most in the major leagues with Colorado. And Houston wins again today. They lead the entire league with 38 wins. Inside, and that's 4 straight balls to start this game. It is a new day, Rick Horton.
Can we start it now?
The Cardinals defensively, Tommy Pham in left, Dexter Fowler in center. Steven Piscotty returns to the lineup in right. Jerko, Diaz, DeYoung, Carpenter on the infield, and Yadier Molina is behind the plate.
Great to have Steven back.
Jim will have more on his story coming up in the second inning. And that is 5 straight balls thrown by Martinez, and so Molina wants to visit early on. For Carlos Martinez, his team leading 11th start, number 79 of his career. Opponents only hitting .207 against him this year. That's 5th best in the National League.
When Carlos's command goes, Dan, he has an interesting dilemma of trying to figure out, is he overthrowing, which most people will do, but he's learned to pitch dialed back, and he can actually underthrow and not let the ball go enough. So I think he has to kind of worry about both ends of that spectrum, because he has the ability to pitch at 99 and at 93.
Corey Seager at the plate, reached base safely in his last 12 games and hitting .302 during that time. Into center field, so the first 2 have reached against Carlos Martinez.
You would think with the Dodgers coming to town, no Clayton Kershaw and no Justin Turner, you're thinking you've got certainly an opportunity against the Dodgers. We'll look at that pitch location. Middle in, actually on the inside corner. That's good plate coverage and a good swing by Seager, clearly looking in.
Here's Yasmani Grandal, 2 for 9 in the series, 288 overall. A switch hitter, this is his better side, and there's strike 1. 96 miles an hour on the gun. Grandal has hit safely in 10 of his last 11. And a breakout month here in May, hitting .341. Here's the 0-1 pitch by Martinez.
I'm going to make a bold prediction for this game. You ready? I sincerely believe that tonight's game will be shorter than last night's.
We can only hope. 9 innings, 4 hours last night.
No, it was just 3:55.
Right.
Al reminded me.
I rounded up.
Okay.
1-2 the count.
The longest game, by the way, they found out after the fact, that the Cardinals have had since the year 2000, so 17 years. Last time the Cardinals have played a game that long in 9 innings.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
But you said turn the page, so I'm done talking about that.
Turn the page.
Good breaking ball from Martinez on Grandal. You mentioned he's been a good hitter, especially from the left side, and that pitch down and in. Not very good pitch recognition by Grandal. I think he thought it was a fastball and swung over the top of it.
And it brings in Adrian Gonzalez. First baseman now is driven in 19 after a slow start. 1 home run, hitting .261. And a fastball taken outside and low. Crowd still filing in. Beautiful night here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. And the 1-0 pitch. Ooh, and that catches Molina. He drops down.
Somewhere on the right hand, it looks like. Adam Olsen giving him a second to deal with it before he goes out. I'm sure he will come out. There's the swing. And ooh, right off the fingers. You know, catcher can only protect himself but so much. You've got the gear, and you know, even the way that foul ball almost came reverse direction, came back to the left as we were watching from the center field camera to Molina's right. I'm not sure you could have anticipated that.
I did a function tonight with Cardinals GM John Mozeliak. He was asked about Carson Kelly, who has really picked it up again after a hot start, slowed down, and has gotten hot again. And he said, for fans, if you're wondering about when or if he makes it to the major leagues, it's when, but we have to find the right time in which Molina is not going to be playing 6 or 7 times a week. And at that point, then you can look at it, but to bring him up to sit does not benefit his growth.
And I love Carson Kelly. When you're around him, you like him. Very likable guy. But what I saw in spring training, I thought he needed more development.
Oh, no question. Swinging the bat, especially.
Swinging the bat, and even behind the plate, you could see a bit of a drop off. He was good, but needs a little more work, and what the minor leagues is all about.
So it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Room on the right side of the infield. And a double play ball hit to short. 6-4. 3 on the double play. Nice pick by Carpenter. Just what the doctor ordered. Diaz, DeYoung, Carpenter, and the double play, scoreless after a half inning. Then we say hello to June tomorrow. The double play presented by State Farm.
Love to get 2 outs with 1 pitch. Bit of an awkward throw by DeYoung. Nice scoop by Carpenter at the end.
Dexter Fowler, Matt Carpenter, Yadier Molina here in the first inning. Against the lefty Ryu. There's ball 1. Following Molina, it'll be Jerko back in the lineup, then Pham, Piscotty back, DeYoung, Diaz, and Martinez. Ryu actually earned a save the last time that he faced the Cardinals last week. First ever save in the big leagues.
Including his years pitching in the KBO, the Korean Baseball Organization. Ryu's a guy that will mix his pitches, his Hyundai pitch arsenal, fastball, change, slider, curve. Does not throw a lot of strikes. Under 50% of his pitches are in the strike zone, so you expect Cardinals would be patient with him, especially a guy like Carpenter.
I think going into the season, you'd say especially a guy like Fowler, maybe Diaz, who are high on base guys. Now Diaz has seen the walks really cut down this year. Fowler is starting to pick it up here recently. And the 1-2.
I think that was the plan. You would have on base percentage guy 1, 2, 3. And again, Fowler, Diaz, Carpenter in that order. But with Diaz kind of being up and down, they moved him down. He was more productive at the bottom of the order. So now Matt Carpenter's in that third spot most of the season. There are times where he's not been as comfortable. So I think it's good to try him in the second spot, see how it works.
Outside, and it's 3-2.
You still need somebody to drive in runs, though. And that's why preferably Carpenter's third in my mind. But I think every once in a while you got to shake it up.
Why not? The way things have been going, great starting pitching. Bullpen has been shaky and trying to get the offense going.
Remember Bob Forsch one time screaming in a meeting as Bob was not afraid to say what he thought. And I love Bob Forsch. He'd say, hey, we need to do something even if it's wrong.
Shake it up, right?
Yeah. I mean, just do something different. Might be wrong, but do it.
Well, that's why we were talking last night. I'm sure the Cardinals have broached the subject. Do you put Carpenter in the leadoff spot? Do you drop a Fowler? Do you bring Diaz back up? I mean, all those things are on the table at this point. 3-2 again. Fowler, Gonzalez from his knees and out at first. And the Cardinals will take a longer look at this.
Great effort by Fowler. Ryu in a foot race against the head first sliding Fowler. He spins to his right. Now Gonzalez, because of the slide, has to get rid of it. Now here's the foot race, and ooh, that's close, but I think he's out.
The Cardinals will not challenge. That view will tell you he is out. Nice play on both ends, Ryu and Gonzalez. And it brings in Matt Carpenter, hitting .226. 9 home runs, and he is driven in 27. Couple of hits in this series. You make a great point. You've got one of the leaders in terms of seeing pitches per at bat. Doesn't chase many out of the zone. Ryu doesn't throw many in the zone. We'll see what gives in these at bats.
I've got 3 walks written down already.
Already, huh?
In ink, yeah. Just not sure what inning to put him in.
Here's the whiteout.
Just strike one, Danny.
So 1 out, nobody on, no balls, 1 strike on Carpenter. Outfield deep, in particular the center fielder Taylor. And it's 0-2. 3 things to know about Matt Carpenter. Number 1 in the lineup, .295 average. Number 2, .257. Number 3, .226. Just one of the oddities with Carpenter, who's been a very good major league hitter.
I think there was a time where, and I would have been in that line where you'd say, well, this may be a small sample size of at bats, but it's getting up there. 195 at bats in the third spot, but it just, you know, we're talking about this year, and that has not been the best start for Matt Carpenter. That may even out before the year is over.
Who wants to win in the Central? Arizona beat the Pirates 6-5. The Cubs lose again 2-1 to San Diego.
6 straight, isn't it?
Yep.
For the Cubs.
Winless road trip. 2-2. We'll see the Cubbies back home at Wrigley Field for Chicago on Friday afternoon.
They'll be ready.
Oh yeah. Our first weekend series, our first trip to Wrigley. A lot of Cardinal fans will be there. It'll be a great atmosphere. And the 2-2 pitch. Fouled back by Carpenter. Dodgers defensively around the horn is presented by Dobbs. Bellinger, Taylor, and Hernandez in the outfield. Forsythe, Seager, Utley, Gonzalez on the infield. Grandal is behind the plate. That was Jake Arrieta who made the start today for the Cubs. 2-2 the count. It's into the shift. Chase Utley.
Where's that whiteout?
I thought you were writing in crayon actually, but after you munched on your chicken fingers. So 2 outs, and it brings in Yadier Molina. Let's hope he's all right. Right hand was exposed on the foul ball. Went down into the clubhouse. I'm sure got a little attention with that arm and fingers and hand, and here he is, first plate appearance of the night. And Yadi sends a fly ball into right center. Taylor is over, but it'll be the right fielder Kike Hernandez to make the catch. The Cardinals go in order, and there's no score here at Busch. No score, the Cardinals and the Dodgers. The return of Stephen Piscotty to St. Louis. With more on that, let's check in with Jim.
Yeah, Dan, Stephen left the Cardinals when they were in Colorado to be with his family as they dealt with a very, very serious issue. Stephen's mother, Gretchen, diagnosed with ALS. When he got the news, Stephen made the decision to go to Pleasanton, California to be with her. Piscotty told me, we actually watched the games on the couch. She thought it would be a fun, weird idea to watch with me actually being there. He said the whole family was able to come back and spend some time and gather ourselves. He said, my mom is very strong. She's going to battle, and we'll be behind her. And Dan, Stephen also said it was the right decision for him to go home and that Mike Matheny made it easy for him. He said the whole family is thankful that Mike was so supportive.
Yeah, very tight-knit family, as we found out over the years. He also had the return, Jimmy, to the lineup of Jed Jerko at third base tonight.
Yeah, Jed left the ball game last night before it started to be with his wife. They had a baby girl named Brooklyn. Mom and daughter are both doing great, and I think the good news is she's very cute, so obviously she takes after her mom, not Jed.
Wow. What a shot.
I said that to him, and he agreed.
Well, okay then. Good stuff, Jimmy, as always. 1-2 the count on Chase Utley. Goes down to get it, and a fly ball into right. Piscotty is there on the run to make the catch. Nice play by Stephen.
Well, we're talking about Stephen Piscotty, and the ball found him quickly, and this was not an easy play. Good pitch down in the zone, although it was down and in. And Utley hit a ball right on the nose again with that short, sweet swing. And Utley's red hot right now. You have to be careful with him, but a nice play by Piscotty. You know, Dan, that's a great reminder of Jim's report on both Piscotty and Jerko. Different stories, different emotions with those two stories, but a great reminder that these guys have families and lives, and yes, they're athletes and they're paid to be at the top of their game and entertain, and we enjoy watching them. Whew. But life sometimes interferes.
Life can come right at you.
And here's some coming at you right here. Wow. Boom, boom. Get your stopwatch on that.
Man.
Off the bat, in the glove. What's that, a quarter of a second?
If that. Wow. So look at Adam Wainwright. He'll go tomorrow against Brandon McCarthy, 12:45. The first pitch. We're on the air at noon here on Fox Sports Midwest.
So the old guys would have two comments to Carlos when he comes in. One of them would be, did you get a good jump on that? That'd be one thing. Somebody will probably say that. And somebody else would say, would you like the pitching screen?
Ooh. Scary.
And
Strike to Taylor.
Sometimes you feel like you wish you had it.
I'm sure. Big, strong guys at the plate. You're throwing 98 miles an hour. Exit velocity on those balls are over 100 miles per hour. There's a ground ball left side off the glove of Jerko into shallow left. If you're wondering, the exit velocity was 108 off the bat of Bellinger in that line out to Carlos Martinez.
And the pitcher's more vulnerable because they're not braced for that. The hitter knows the ball's coming, the pitcher doesn't. What makes it much more dangerous. Good effort by Jerko. His daughter would be proud.
She has no idea where she's at right now.
I'm just saying she would be if she knew.
Oh, okay. Give her a few years.
Maybe they're recording all these games. They'll watch them when she's older.
Maybe so.
Remember the day we talked about you on the air? You had just been born. I'm telling you, that'll be in their family archive someday.
Here's Kike Hernandez. He's batting .252, 4 home runs. He's driven in 18. And a grounder that's softly hit towards short, gloved by Diaz. Throws on the run and a strike to Carpenter. St. Louis will have Jerko, Pham, and Piscotty coming up. And there's no score midway through 2. There's no score. The Dodgers and the Cardinals. Let's look at our Toyota keys to the game.
The Cardinals have an average of 259, which is 7th in the league, which isn't really that bad. But you look at what they've done with runners in scoring position and with runners in scoring position and 2 outs, and you see quite a drop off. And we've seen in the past few years when the Cardinals hit with runners in scoring position, they win. And whether they're hitting home runs or not, that's a part of the puzzle. But key hits really are the key, and there just haven't been enough of them as we are playing game number 50 on the season.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Jed Jerko. Cardinals, their minor leagues, get great news today. Daniel Ponce de Leon, who had a fractured skull on a comebacker, was released from the hospital over the weekend and today cleared to fly. John Mozeliak saying that baseball was really the last thing they were thinking about if he would ever get back to the point of wanting to play. And he said, hey, if he wants to play, our doctors, everybody that's checked him out says he can, and he believes that baseball is in his future. But really scary there for, oh, I'd say 24, 48 hours. It was a serious issue.
Well, it's not going to be a quick road for him to be back playing again, and the want to's got to be part of it, Dan. Timing.
Hit to short. Seager, low throw, and the stretch by Gonzalez for the out.
But after the early news on him, it's just good to hear that he's
no doubt
back home.
It happened in Iowa, and he was not cleared to travel, so he spent about 2.5 weeks in the hospital, and then eventually released, and then today gets the news that he's able to fly. Great news. Here's Tommy Pham. He's had an incredible May. 319 team best average, tied for the team lead, 14 runs scored and 14 driven in. And a 55-footer for ball 1. Pham's 5 home runs, 10 walks also match his single-month highs. Hit 5 homers in July of 2016, walked 10 times in August of 2016. And he lines it out to right, and that drops in front of Kike Hernandez.
Love watching the swing of Pham. He has a wide, spread out stance at the plate. Dan, he just picks the front foot up, puts it right back down again, and a short stroke. You let that pitch get into the zone and drove it the other way. Very nice. You know, I think some people teach, especially young kids, they'll teach them that you need to kind of do a lot of work with your front foot. Stepping into a ball used to be the way it was taught, Dan. You recall that when you were a kid. You got to step into it. Well, no, you don't. That's the wrong thing to do. Most guys will just pick their foot up and put it right back down where it is if they have any movement at all. And because what you do is you get too much of your weight going forward onto your front foot. You lose your power, you lose your leverage, and you end up jamming yourself.
You know, the one that comes to mind more than any for me in watching the Cardinals over the years, our colleague Jim Edmonds. Wide stance, the base.
Very quiet lower half.
And a high fly ball lifted in to right. Hernandez wants it. And the catch, though, made by Taylor. Pham tagging up, diving in head first at second base, and puts himself in scoring position.
I think they're going to have to get some hearing exams on their outfielders with the Dodgers, because we've seen this quite a bit. Taylor is a converted infielder, and I got it, and somebody's got to get it, and somebody's got to give way.
Ideally, would you want your right fielder to take this because of the potential of the tag?
I would say yes, although where that was in right center was a little bit kind of in between. It wasn't an obvious one so much. Now, if your right fielder is that guy, you let him catch it. Yasiel Puig.
And you don't tag up, more than likely.
And you don't run into him either.
Ask Jock Peterson about that. And the collision last week, and Peterson was put on the 7-day disabled list for concussions. Here's Paul DeYoung with a home run and an RBI. 3 for 8 to start his major league career. Mom in the stands.
Guess Dad had to go back to work. Or maybe he's on a hot dog run.
Here's a 1-1. And DeYoung shoots it out to center. Taylor spun around over his head into the wall. DeYoung trotting into second base. Pham scores. And it's 1-0 Cardinals. The inexperience again of Taylor in center field.
Mom's happy. All Cardinal fans here at the ballpark are happy. Yep, that's my son. Got a little pop down in the zone. Taylor, who's been playing a deep center field, and this is why. He clearly goes in on a ball better than he goes back on a baseball, and high fives all the way around.
So the intentional bash here to Aledmys Diaz, and they will elect to pitch to Carlos Martinez. So you have the inexperience on 2 plays really that lead to the Cardinals' first run, and the fact that Puig is sitting.
You have a shortstop playing right, you have a second baseman playing center, and you have a first baseman playing left.
There you go.
I will say the left fielder Bellinger got a chance of being a Gold Glove outfielder, although as we've been told he's going to be a Gold Glove first baseman someday when Gonzalez is done with his career. But you know, that's why experience matters.
So 2 outs and 2 on. That floats in there for strike 1. Cardinals last night jumped out to a 3-0 lead and couldn't hold it.
Cardinals would be having a great season if they didn't have to play innings 6, 7, and 8. You've seen those numbers.
Oh yeah. The fly ball into right,
You catch
and
it.
Hernandez makes the catch. A double by Paul DeYoung is second RBI in the bigs. 1-0 St. Louis. More times than not, the umpires are getting yelled at by fans, players, managers. And there's a look at our umpires today, and that was not necessarily the case this afternoon.
Yeah, the umpires made a visit this Children's Hospital this afternoon. It's part of a group event that they really founded called Umps Care, where they visit kids in hospitals. They are cooperating with Build-A-Bear Workshop. Of course, Fredbird was on hand, but they have had 125 of these visits in the last 8 years. And, you know, umpires travel a lot. They're never, Dan, at home. Think about that. When you're a major league player and coach, you're at home half the time. The umpires are never home. And they get a chance to connect with communities around the country and get a chance to feel a little bit on a more personal level and serve. And I think it's a terrific thing that the umpires founded this group, Umps Care Charities. And Cardinals want to salute Major League Baseball players, umpires, for this great effort.
2-2 pitch to Ryu. Pitch it sharply to Carpenter. Nice pick down at first. And there's one away. MLB.TV Premium. It's back. It's better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Visit MLB.TV for details. Huge Cardinal fan in Oklahoma City. Phil Taylor is watching tonight. Going through a little bit of a tough time, but he never misses a game. And no, Phil, we're thinking about you and want to see you back at the ballpark very, very soon. Fastball and a strike to Forsythe.
So we talked about the Cardinal key being their inability to get a hit with the runners in scoring position and 2 outs, or just get the 2-out hit, and Paul DeYoung comes through with one.
And it's 0-2. Forsythe walked on 4 pitches to start this game. And the 0-2.
Do you have that uh-oh feeling? First 5 pitches of the game?
I did.
I did too.
Feeling a little better now.
Me too. I wonder if Carlos had the uh-oh feeling.
You know what, though? We've seen that where he does at times lose it. If that's the right word for an inning, maybe 2, but more times than not, he gets it back on track. And a strikeout. His second of the night.
That is back on track. Fastball, hop to it. Down in the zone and away.
The first 2 reached in that first inning. It was a walk and then a base hit to center by this man, Corey Seager. Tomorrow, barring a meeting in postseason play, it'll be the final meeting between these 2 teams, so done by the 1st of June. The Cardinals and the Dodgers. Oh, 0-2 the count.
I think when your team's off to a good start, you want to see somebody like Clayton Kershaw pitch in a series, but this series I just assume not. We'll see him next year.
Hit to DeYoung. A little tricky hop there at the end. And a 1-2-3 inning for Carlos Martinez. Midway through 3. St. Louis on top 1-0. Louis Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Steel Outdoor Power Equipment. Find a servicing Steel dealer at steeldealers.com or search STIHL. And by your local St. Louis area Volkswagen dealers. Here's Dexter Fowler to lead it off, and that's ball one. Underway here in the bottom of the third.
So far, Ryu has had control issues in the past, as we mentioned, has only walked one Cardinal, and that was Diaz intentionally.
Another breaking ball, and it's 1-1.
We'll say a bigger strike zone today than we had yesterday, which I'm okay with.
Absolutely. Happy 45th birthday to Dave Roberts, manager of the Dodgers. Turns 45 today. NL West title a year ago. That's now four in a row for the Dodgers. They were 91 and 71 a season ago.
Manager of the year, Bob Guerin, his bench coach. Mentioned former Cardinal, also managed in the big leagues. Was with the Mets last and had two sons who both caught Matt Bowman in college at Princeton. Both of Bob's kids were catchers at Princeton.
2-2 the count. Two and two the count on Dexter Fowler. Grounded out his first time up. It's a famous date in Dodger history, but does not get all that much attention. It concerns Don Drysdale scoreless inning streak. 3-2 pitch is hit out of play. It remained intact. Controversial call by home plate umpire Harry Windelstedt. Hunter's father ruled that the Giants catcher Dick Dietz did not make an attempt to get out of the way of a pitch with the bases loaded in the 9th inning. He would pop out to end the at bat. Drysdale would complete the shutout, extended his scoreless inning streak to 45, set the major league record with 58 2/3, later surpassed by another Dodger who you just saw, Oral Hershiser, with 59.
I saw Oral the other day, Dan, and I said, I was talking to Joe Davis, his partner, and I said, you know, I was really happy that I was around for all of Oral's 56 innings. And Oral said, wait a minute, 59. but Oral was amazing, just night after night. And Oral, of course, knows the answer to the question, who lost the game where he broke that streak. He went 59 innings, but the game went into extra innings. He went 9 innings. Drysdale was there broadcasting for the Dodgers. They got to have a celebration, but the Dodgers lost the game because I gave up a home run in the 12th.
I didn't want to bring it up.
Well, I figured I'd say it. It hurts less.
Don Drysdale was working on the radio side for the Dodgers with Vince Scully at that time and was in the dugout when it happened.
So a very odd feeling for me, as there was this big party going on.
And you're at your locker saying, oh, man.
Well, the good news is there was already a guy on base that somebody else had left there, so I wasn't actually the losing pitcher. Somebody else got the loss, so it was okay.
It's awful.
I don't really mean that. It's just something relievers say to ease the pain.
I get it.
Speaking of easing the pain, the Cardinals made a move today with their bullpen. Jonathan Broxton was given his release today, and they recalled John Gant, who we saw a lot of in spring training, had a groin injury right at the end of spring training, and that's been a long time healing for him, but he's back here. He was impressive in the spring, so expect him to be ready for action tonight.
It will not be his major league debut. He got a little action in with the Atlanta Braves a season ago. He was part of the Jaime Garcia deal. The twist of fate, Jaime Garcia on the mound tonight for Atlanta in Los Angeles against the Angels, and Albert Pujols sitting on $5.99.
Wow.
Here's a 3-1. Now 3-2.
Amazing how many times I've been asked, if you're pitching, if you're Jaime Garcia, do you groove one?
You're part of history?
Be part of history? The answer is absolutely not.
Not, yeah. The 3-2 pitch. And a strikeout of Carpenter. So Ryu picks up his first strikeout of the night, and he gets Matt Carpenter. Brings in Yadier Molina.
Ryu had to sit out a year. He was hurt, but he had a season after coming over to play Major League Baseball where he went 14-7 with the Dodgers in 2014, a lot like Maeda was a year ago.
Softly hit to third, and the Cardinals go quietly in the third. We head to the fourth, and it's 1-0 St. Louis. Talking about the move the Cardinals have made. More on that. Let's check in with Jim.
Yeah, John Gant recalled from AAA. Jonathan Broxton given his unconditional release. John Mozeliak saying before the game it's always tough to release a player, especially someone who's a good teammate and is so well respected like Broxton. But as Mozeliak pointed out, it's a performance game and Broxton wasn't getting it done. Mozeliak says they're hoping that Gant can fill the role of the long reliever and free up Tyler Lyons for other situations. Dan Mozeliak said before the game the move allows for more bullpen flexibility. He said they had too many guys in the bullpen with multi-year contracts or guys with no options to navigate a move. He thinks this kind of frees it up.
Well, we shall see. You mentioned Gant is here, Piscotty back, Jerko back, and John Mozeliak has been busy. There's some talk that Magneuris Sierra would be here. May happen over the weekend in Chicago. We'll have to take a closer look at what the Cardinals need and could do.
I can't disagree with the decision that John Mozeliak made, and Jonathan Broxton's struggled a bit of late, but you know, he's kind of marvel in baseball. You know, if you're in a normal job and you lose your job, you're fired. That sounds fired. That's a strong word. In baseball, you're released, as if that's a more wonderful thing. But guess what? You're fired. And you have all those same feelings of disconnect, of finality, especially if you're a guy that's, and all players have played the game since they're 5 years old, and now they're told you don't get a uniform anymore. I mean, it's tough, very tough, but they know it's going to happen.
And a fly ball that's lifted down the left field line off the bat of Grandal. Out of play. You have designated for assignment. You have released.
Yeah, release sounds. Doesn't that sound like you're let go? Like you release a butterfly.
Not to Jonathan and not to many.
100% agree.
Here's a 1-2. Swing and a miss on a slider. And that strikeout number 3 for Carlos Martinez. Arquilla in the driver's seat. Carlos Martinez.
Very good month of May. Alex Wood was supposed to start in this series, but he's on the Dodger DL. 1.27 ERA for him, undefeated. Cardinals won't see him, but Carlos having a very good May.
A swing and a miss on a changeup at 89 miles an hour. Speaking of Wood, if you're wondering, the longest active streak in terms of scoreless innings consecutively is 25 1/3 by Alex Wood. And a fly ball that's lifted out to shallow center. Fowler coming on and makes the catch. Six in a row set down by Martinez.
That's the kind of play you need your middle infielders to be talking to you, and DeYoung went out because the center fielder can't always tell just how much a hitter was jammed, and Gonzalez was jammed on that. So you can wait back a little bit too long, and maybe that ball ends up dropping. Nice play by Fowler.
With 2 outs, the batter is Chase Utley. Utley was a homer shy of the cycle last night. Recently, he's been one of the Dodgers' hottest hitters. 3 doubles, 3 triples, couple of home runs since May 24th. And in that time, he's driven in 14.
This is where we talk all the time, Dan, about you can have numbers of a player and the scouting reports and all that. You look at the board and he's a 250 hitter. Well, right now he feels like a lot better than a 250 hitter because of what he's done the last week. And that, to me, that's an incredibly important stat. Where is the guy right now? How does he feel at the plate? How is he seeing the ball? How's his timing?
Don't you think, too, you wait if you're the Dodgers with this kind of track record he's put together at the age of 38. Let's see what he's got left in the tank.
Yeah, you don't jump the gun on that. I would agree.
From Pasadena, California, playing for his hometown Dodgers. Departs at 13 years with the Phils. Slowly hit towards DeYoung. Gloves, underhands to Carpenter. St. Louis has Jerko, Pham, Piscotty coming up. A beautiful night here in St. Louis. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Jed Jerko leads it off, followed by Pham and Piscotty. 1-0 Cardinals. A swing and a miss. So Ryu picked up a save against the Cardinals. That was Thursday in relief of Kenta Maeda. If you include the postseason, 2-1 with a 1.16 ERA. 5 appearances, number 6 tonight against St. Louis. As a starter, his ERA this year has been around 5. It was a rough start to the season for Carlos Martinez. 0-3 in April, 3-1 in May. And tonight putting up zeros thus far. 2 hits aside and a 1-0 St. Louis lead. Oh, 0-2 the count, and now they're going to talk.
I think Jed brought some cigars to the ballpark today. Guys still do that?
I did.
Been a long time for me. I haven't been paying attention. That's still a thing.
I mean this with all respect. Now it's about the grandkids for you.
Oh, yeah. Well, not there yet, but that's next.
I meant for your friends too.
Oh yeah, no question.
That was with all due respect, Rick.
Well, all due reality.
Unless you have a surprise for us.
No. No.
And Jerko did go, and a strikeout. I've noticed Dan has been traveling on more road trips.
We're good.
The Orlando Cepeda bobblehead presented by AAA Missouri is coming up, and that's Friday, June 9th. The 1967 MVP take home his bobblehead, Orlando Cepeda. Here's Tommy Pham. And a strike. Boy, it's a quick homestand and right back out on the road for the Cardinals. Next road trip, 3 in Chicago, 4 in Cincinnati. Cardinals will play only 11 home dates in June. Then leading up to the All-Star break, a very long homestand, longest of the year. All-Star break hits, Cardinals go out on the road. Every trip with the exception of one in the second half is 3 cities. That can catch up with a team. But the way the Cardinals play on the road, you might say it's a good thing. Who knows?
There's the wide stance of Pham we talked about, Dan, and the front foot's not going to move very much. It's going to go up and straight back down.
I still marvel at the fact that he's playing at this level, Major League Baseball, with the vision that he has.
Agreed.
Very poor vision, but yet still putting up numbers here in the big leagues. And it's not just like a guy needs glasses. I mean, it is serious. 2-2 is foul.
I asked him about the fly ball in shallow left center, and we talked about it maybe drifting back at the last second. Didn't have a chance to throw the runner out at the plate, and he said when he's going in that direction, there is glare that comes off the seats at Busch Stadium that bother him at a certain time of the day, and nothing you can do about it. And you've got to see a baseball coming 90 miles an hour and you've got to see the spin on the baseball that's coming 90 miles an hour. I'm with you. It really is miraculous what he's able to do.
Most doctors say the same thing. Miraculous is the way they describe it. 3-2 pitch now to Tommy Pham. And Pham could not hold up, and he went strikeout. Back-to-back Ks, number 3 tonight for Ryu. And it brings in Stephen Piscotty, flied out to center. Who just joined us. Jim Hayes reporting that Piscotty's mom, that's why he went back. We were calling it personal reasons, but his mom, the reason why he was in California, Pleasanton is his hometown. Mother was diagnosed with ALS. And Stephen taps it foul. At times he's been streaky and could carry a club. He did that as a rookie a couple of years ago. Streaky at times in his second season. He's been a very good RBI man, and this could be the player that the Cardinals need to pick things up.
I agree 100%. And he hasn't been yet this year what we saw a season ago, and that includes spring training. He was really behind on a lot of pitches in spring training, working on staying back. He wanted the ball to get deeper into the zone. He didn't want to be drifting forward. He felt like he'd gotten into the habit of drifting forward a little bit too much, but he was late. Timing was off. He was too late attacking the baseball.
In the dirt. It was a late pick a few years ago out of high school by the Dodgers. Did not sign. Went to Stanford and then became a high pick for the Cardinals. And the 1-2 pitch.
Draft coming up soon.
In a night in which Albert Pujols could make history, it ties into Stephen Piscotty, Michael Wacha,
right?
Maybe Yadier Molina, Adam Wainwright, because of the money that would have been going towards Pujols. Who do you sign? Who would you pick up as compensatory picks, which wound up being Piscotty and Wacha? In losing Pujols, there's a drive into left center. This ball is a ground rule double. Welcome back, Stephen Piscotty.
So good to see. He didn't really get all of this pitch either. It looked like he was in on his hands a bit, and he didn't really get all of it, but he got enough of it to plug the gap. Way to go, Steven.
Here's Paul DeYoung. A double his first time up. Can you imagine the buzz in this baseball town if Pujols was still wearing the Cardinals uniform and sitting on $5.99?
Well, I think the idea was at the time, the decision was made that if we were going to get to that point, we wouldn't have those four players you're talking about.
No
the
doubt.
Cardinals would be 20 games out.
And that's the risky run. Ryu steps and throws as he jams DeYoung. Cardinals have left 3 on, a double by Piscotty, left stranded. It's 1-0 as we head to the 5th. So Chicago dropping to 24 and 26. And the Cardinals a game under the 500 mark, 24 and 25. Here's a 1-0 pitch. And it's taken just a bit high by Cody Bellinger, the fastest Dodger in franchise history to reach 11 home runs. Accomplished that in just 32 games when he swung on a 3-0 pitch Monday afternoon here at this ballpark. Working very quickly and a leadoff walk. Kubota Power Stats and a look at the active home run leaders in Major League Baseball. Pujols at 599. Cabrera closing in on 500. Adrian Beltre, future Hall of Famer. For my money, so is Carlos Beltran.
It's about the Hall of Fame line there, isn't it? But
yeah.
Albert, what a terrific career. Over 1,700 games in St. Louis. I'll, of course, still think of him, or always think of him, as a Cardinal. He had as good a start to a career as anybody who's ever played this game. Consistently 30 home runs, 100 RBIs, 300 batting average or more, 330 many years. Just, I mean, an incredible start for a young player to dominate the game the way he did. Just phenomenal.
And the run scored.
Yes. That 1 year he only scored 99 to break the string, and it was like big news.
If Pujols would have stayed here, and we talked about the scenarios that unfolded, the money where it would be positioned for the Cardinals, and he was a part of the 06 and 11 championships. You also have to remember it's a National League team in St. Louis. I'm not sure that you're talking about Albert Pujols playing every day at first base. That
right.
Body, those legs holding up. Who knows?
But you wouldn't have been able to invest in the other players as the Cardinals have, and you know, you'd have been playing second, I'd be in left, and
we should have signed him then.
We wouldn't be very good.
Change up and strikeout number 4.
You see the swing is out in front of that pitch. He swung through it, and the ball wasn't there yet. It's such an optical illusion when the changeup is thrown well. You disguise it, it looks like a fastball. It's just not there yet.
Here's Hernandez, and strike 1. Rounded out to short, first time up. Cardinals turn to double play back in the first.
Thought you noticed something, Dan, in how you described the walk to Bellinger, that Carlos was working quickly, as if to say almost too quickly. You can rush in this game. You want to have a nice pace, but if you go too fast, then you're out of sync. It's like any other sport. It has a rhythm to it and a pace to it that you have to try to maintain. For the most part, he stays on that. But I think Michael Wacha works too quickly sometimes, as an example.
Here's an 0-2 pitch.
Now Michael may disagree, and he'd say, well, that's what I'm comfortable doing, and you know, it's his job, and he's got to figure himself out better than anybody else can, including the pitching coach, the catcher, and me. But the point is, if something's going wrong, occasionally you got to step back and think about it a little bit and regroup.
Fastball misses low. Wacha's next start will be Sunday night against the Cubs. The Cardinals have Wainwright and McCarthy tomorrow. Then we head to Wrigley Field. Lance Lynn, John Lackey, a couple of really happy guys will square off. Then Mike Leake, John Lester, Michael Wacha, Kyle Hendricks. How would you like to be the home plate umpire on Friday with Lynn and Lackey?
Happy
High
guys.
fly ball into center, and Fowler is under it. No tag, and there's 2 away. I mean, when Lackey starts glaring back into the home plate umpire, it's like, okay. I mean, we've seen it. It's every start.
So there's a part of, you know, a pitching coach's job is to understand that, you know, you've got some principles about how to pitch and how to play this game, but you also have to let them be themselves. And when Lance Lynn pitches, he's being himself. And you don't want to take that. You don't want to take Carlos away from Carlos.
Well, I go back to when, and we kid about it, but the extensions with the hair of Carlos Martinez, and the Cardinals front office said, hey, you know, this is who he is. We've got to let him express himself. You may not like it, but that's what he wants to do.
I was okay with the extensions. I wasn't okay with the ERA during that time.
I agree.
But he was able to kind of make that decision on his own and say, okay, well, let me try something different here. But style is part of it.
Being an individual in a sport that we call a team sport, but it's as individual as you get.
That's the great mystery of baseball. It is a bunch of individual actions that go on that we call a team thing. And I mean, there's nothing much team about it right now. It's basically Martinez against the batter. That's what it is. Now, once he hits it, it's something else.
See if he's got a good slider here. 1-2 to Ryu. There it is. Struck him out. The tag from his teammate. It's more than just Carlos, Rick.
Oh, yeah.
1-0 midway through 5. Sports and Outdoor Autograph Night, number 3 of 6 this season. Friday, June 9th. 2 current players they'll sign, and then 2 former players as well. Just head to Cardinals.com/promotions to find out more. The Academy Sports and Outdoor Leaderboard. Most innings caught National League this year. Molina at age 34. And he's leading Austin Hedges, Yasmani Grandal, and the athletic JT Realmuto of Miami.
Leading by quite a large margin. The 36 innings. That's 4 whole games more. He was durable last year. He's durable again. You mentioned earlier the day when Carson Kelly will be here and Yachty catches less, and it's, I don't know when that's going to happen.
Nope. Here's a Ledmus Diaz off the end of the bat into shallow center. Taylor is there for the catch, and there's one away here in the bottom of 5.
You know, you think about Nolan Ryan, Dan, as a pitcher, doing something and pitching older than anybody has ever been able to pitch, and it's almost, he's just an anomaly. You look at that and say, you just can't do what he did. You can't be in your upper 40s and throw 98 miles an hour and pitch in the big leagues, and he did. Yachty might be that kind of specimen as it comes to catching, just kind of rewriting the expectation in the book on just how long you can play effectively. I think that's possible.
Yeah, I think Yadi, as Martinez taps it foul, when his playing career is through, I don't know this. I'd like to ask him at some point. I definitely think he stays in the game. I think he'll manage at some point. As much as he likes to direct different things that are happening on the field, he's got a great baseball IQ. It's off the charts. I definitely could see him managing someday. And his reputation in the game is one that is incredible as a player, and his smarts in the game of baseball. I don't know if you agree with that.
I do. I'm thinking through the want to part for a guy that's played as long. The hard part is the transition from A to B, and sometimes you just don't feel like you want to do it right away. You're kind of been through it, been there, done that. The travel, the lifestyle, all that. It's like I just need a break, and you don't want to go too long with being away because then you're out.
A swing and a miss and a strikeout of Martinez. Pitchers duel here tonight. And then a strikeout number 4 for Ryu. Fox Sports Go. Take us with you wherever you go. See our post-game shows, all the programming on Fox Midwest and Cardinals baseball. Just download the app. I look at him as being a baseball lifer.
Yeah,
playing time is through, and somehow he finds a niche in the game.
At the moment, I see him more as a future Dave Ricketts than I do as a manager.
Sure.
And I know his admiration for Dave Ricketts, former Cardinal Pirate catcher who taught him the game or helped teach him. Dave would give Yadi the credit. I'm just helping you work. And he still has great reverence for Dave, and we talk about him, and I could see him wanting to get a whole bunch of young 17, 18-year-old catchers and make them better.
Kind of like what's happening with Jose Oquendo.
Right.
Jose is down in Florida working with a lot of the younger players. He has moved to the Jupiter area. That's pulled foul.
Barely go 2 or 3 days without somebody asking about Jose.
Paul DeYoung now wearing number 11. I don't think there's, and this isn't a shot at the current coaches, but the Cardinals miss Jose Oquendo. 1-2 pitch. He's that good. Here's a 2-2. And it's not to say that the coaches here aren't working tirelessly day in and day out with video and fungos and everything else.
My take on that is you can miss somebody without it being a slap on somebody else. You're missing them because they're good. I think the Cardinals miss Alex Reyes.
Yes, they do.
Does that mean we're not happy with the way the starting pitching is going? No. But it'd be nice to have him around, wouldn't it?
Sure would. Alex Reyes slowly but surely starting to throw a little bit as we head towards the All-Star break. 1-0 into 5. The lineup now upcoming for the Dodgers.
Notice something interesting about the center fielders, the way they catch the baseball. We look at the center fielder Taylor. He catches it off to the glove side, and Dexter Fowler catches it in the middle of his body. He kind of catches it a little bit lower and right in the middle of his body. We talked about pitchers having their own style, even outfielders do. But you notice both of them essentially using one hand. I know little leaguers are taught to use two hands, big leaguers are taught to use one, because the other hand gets in the way.
And the 1-0 is hit out to Piscotty. Let's watch here. One-handed.
And the reason you one-handed, if you put your other hand up, that hand actually obscures your vision and gets in the way of catching the baseball. And now for a little leaguer, you're trying to just get him to keep the ball in his glove. It's a different story. It's one of those kind of myths that you have about the difference between, how do I tell my kid that Stephen Piscotty's one-handed in the baseball? Well, tell him he's a big leaguer. And when you get to the big league, that's how you catch it. But we just need you to catch it like that while you're 9.
And when outfielders dive, that's when you'll see the two hands trying to make sure it stays in the glove. You may have upset some little league guys now.
I got some other of those. I'm got a little thought we're putting together for a post game about essentially things you're taught in little league that you don't do in the big leagues. There's about 5 of them I have in my mind. You just have to watch the post game, Danny.
I never miss a minute. When do we start doing post games? 3-1 is hit out of play. Ooh, just missed.
When did we start doing post games? Stop it.
A long time ago. I preferred when you were doing the post game as Rick from the future. I saw that one. I saw, and you were in a space outfit.
Silver, if I remember.
Oh, I remember. Shakespeare was a great night.
Yeah.
So 1 out and a runner at first. Usually when I mentioned in the past the Rick from the future, I'll get a few screenshots.
Oh, you will.
And trust me, it's a bright, beautiful silver that you're wearing that night.
Did you see the 24 episode that we did?
No, I missed that one.
Where I think the thing that we were trying to save was a Hungo Award, I think. There were people out to steal one, and we had the clock going down throughout the post game. It was fun.
Sounds like a blast. Here's a 1-0.
Thanks for watching.
And a base hit into left center. And Seager can run on his way to third. And runners at the corners. So Martinez in a little bit of trouble here in the 6th.
Yeah, and the walk kills him. Gets a quick out. Loses Seager. And you're in the heart of the order. A lot of left-handers in the lineup against Martinez. This is a left-handed based Dodger lineup. That pitch is down. And Seager reads it right away. He knows it's down, so no worries going first to third.
Adrian Gonzalez get into a double play back in the first. Good fastball at 98. Something small that you're taught in little league now carries over to the big league. Something as simple as Diaz after that pitch backing up the throw. Molina to the pitcher. Take that for granted. And the 0-1 pitch. And a fly ball lifted out to center. This will tie the game up. Fowler will make the catch. Gets himself in a position to throw. Runner tags from third. That's Seager, and it's 1-1.
Adrian Gonzalez, a professional hitter. He gets the job done, getting the ball into the outfield.
While the season is heating up, you can cool down with new frozen beverages at McDonald's. Classic Coke, Wild Cherry, and Blue Raspberry. Stay cool this summer with frozen drinks at McDonald's. Utley on a hop to second baseman Paul DeYoung. The Dodgers tie it up. Sac fly RBI by Gonzalez, number 20. And it's a 1-1 score. It's 15 and under entering with a ticket will be able to take the field like the pros with their new Rawlings Kids baseball glove featuring 2 Cardinals logos. Join us at Busch Stadium the final day of the Ritz kickoff to summer weekend. Get your tickets for June 11th, the Cards and Phils at cardinals.com/promotions. Boy, isn't that great to see? The redhead is back. Red Schoendienst and taking in Cardinals baseball tonight.
He's the best.
The manager of the 67 club that we just celebrated on the field along with Lou Brock. To me, that was the best moment of the night.
100% agree.
Here's the 0-1.
And that was the best moment of a night filled with really nice moments.
The 2 years ago opening day, seeing Lou Brock walk out onto the field was amazing, and then everyone knows what Lou is going through now, and to see him back at Busch Stadium, tremendous. A hanger, and Carpenter skies it into right. Kike Hernandez, and he makes the catch for the first out here in the home half of the 6th.
So do you use 2 hands or 1? 1. And it's normally caught to the glove side because that allows vision to be better. The glove doesn't go across in front of your face, which makes vision and catching the baseball and trailing the baseball a little more difficult.
Here's Yadier Molina. 0 for 2 tonight. Homered last night. Earlier in the game, we were talking about Carson Kelly. 37 games this year at Memphis. Carson hitting .326, 7 home runs, and has driven in 22, and rated as the best defensive catcher in minor league baseball. Backing up Utley, he wants it, he's got it.
You know, thinking about Matt Carpenter, that at bat he just had, Dan, and just been thinking about how players are really focusing on launch angle. That's a common phrase that everybody's talking about throughout baseball, and that's basically the angle of the bat as it goes through the strike zone, and there's a percentage based on what that angle is, whether or not you're going to hit the ball on the ground, on the line, or pop it up. And you're shooting for a bit of an upswing so you can actually during that upswing is where you hit the line drives as the ball's going downhill from the pitcher. And I think you got 3 fly ball outs in this inning. That's 3 launch angles that are just a little bit too upward.
Is brought to you by Bud Light, famous among friends. By Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less. A 1-1 score. We're in the 7th. Bellinger, Taylor, Hernandez. Pitch count at 79 for Carlos Martinez, and a changeup taken low.
Made the comment earlier that the Cardinals would be running away with the division had they not had to play the 6th, 7th, and 8th innings of games. And normally that's been a bullpen conversation. Martinez gave up a run in the 6th inning here, but this is the tough part of the game for the Cardinals. They got to get their starter as deep as they can and bridge to the closers in the 9th.
2 balls and a strike.
John Gant can become a very important part of this Cardinal bullpen if he is successful. That's really been a missing piece.
Swing and a miss and a strikeout. And Bellinger is strikeout number 6 tonight for Carlos Martinez.
He's got a good slider. There it is again, 87.
Cardinals are 5 spots away from Martinez in their lineup. Right now, he's your best option. He has been sharp tonight. That's hit out of play. Chris Taylor at the plate. Singled off the glove of Jerko back in the 2nd, left stranded, and also struck out. Here's the 0-2. Fly ball into right. Piscotty makes the catch, and there's 2 away. Talking about Yadier Molina earlier, the BJC Healthcare difference maker. The Cardinals all-time most games at home, and Molina closing in on El Hombre. Yadi at 835, Stan the Man 1,524. Kike Hernandez, the 8th place hitter. And he takes a ball.
It's the way the game moves on. I'm imagining Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina in red coats for an opening day.
Drive into right center, and that ball gets down. Hernandez on his way to second base. Now, if you're Dave Roberts, do you pull back Ryu?
With his bullpen, I sure would.
And Ryu is headed towards the plate. And now coming back, and Barnes will be the pinch hitter.
Perfectly placed in right center field. Well struck by Kike Hernandez.
Ross Stripling starts to throw.
And that forces the hand of Dave Roberts. And you talk about Carlos is the Cardinals' best choice right now. Well, the Dodgers have a lot of good choices coming out of their bullpen at the moment, and that's what winning teams have.
So the pinch hitter is Austin Barnes. He's hit .321 this month. He's a Riverside native. This being his 65th big league game he's appeared in. One pitch, now make it 0-2. Time called by Barnes. Martinez working quickly. That slows him down. Can he put him away? The 0-2 pitch. Martinez to Barnes. He struck him out looking. Pinch hitter. 3 pitches. Sit out. Martinez his 7th strikeout of the night, and it's time to stretch. Good ball game. It's 1-1. Tonight for Carlos Martinez. 1-1 our score.
And Austin Barnes got to see the best of Carlos to end the top of the 7th. First pitch he saw was a flat slider that was down and away. And after getting strike 1, Carlos drops down a little bit and throws a different slider that has more downward movement, and he swings through that. Final pitch was 99 on the black. Derek Lilliquist had to love that.
It'll be Pham, Piscotty, and DeYoung. Cardinals hit a home run. Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. So Ross Stripling is into the ball game, right-hander for the Dodgers. Dave Roberts has to be thrilled with what they got out of Ryu. They really weren't sure about this start, how he would be in terms of his effectiveness, and he was good. First pitch, a strike.
I thought his curveball was really good.
Yeah. Stripling, a former teammate and roommate of Michael Wacha's at Texas A&M. The 0-1 pitch.
You see the high target from Grandal. He's used to doing that with Dodgers relievers. They love the fastball up in the zone late in the game to try to get chases, swings and misses. See if he does it again. This time he's down. He wants the off-speed pitch. There it is. Good curveball from Stripling.
Major League debut was against the Giants. Dave Roberts, first week or so being a Major League manager, had to decide whether or not to take Stripling out, who was coming off a Tommy John and had a no-hitter going late in that game.
Fastball up, target up. Couldn't get him to chase.
Took him out of the game. Stripling's parents came to him and said thank you.
Yep.
Where a lot of people were upset about the move, but he was thinking his long-term future, not the immediate.
Parents love it when people take care of their kids.
Yep. 2-2 and a strikeout of Pham. That's how we start the bottom of the 7th. Don't miss. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees Metallica. They'll be here at Busch Stadium over the weekend. Cardinals.com/Metallica. It's produced by Live Nation. Still some good seats available. That's this weekend. So Ryu goes 6 innings, strikes out 4, and gives up just 3 hits. Here's Stephen Piscotty. Fly to center, ground rule double into the gap in left center. Second time up, and he's 1 for 2. Cardinals last week had a 13-inning game against the Dodgers. I think you get my drift. Are we headed there again?
Could be.
I know some don't like it. Some have said even the commissioner of baseball, maybe after we're starting in the 11th, put a man in scoring position to start an inning. I think especially in a National League game, it's just fascinating to watch late innings. I think it's fun to watch.
I agree. I mean, that one game becomes almost another metaphor for what a season's like. It just becomes a game of attrition. How many pitchers do you have? Who's going to play the outfield? Who's left on your bench?
Pitchers become position players.
Yeah,
or really, vice versa.
You really find out what you've got.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Piscotty lines it into right, and Hernandez, who can play the infield, needed every bit of the quick hands to get that baseball. Woohoo. 2-hit night for Stephen Piscotty. His return to the lineup.
Couple balls hit hard. Way to go, Stephen. Here's the delivery. Right on it. Hits it the other way. Inside out swing, and that's the hands of an infielder right there.
Sure are. That ball gets by him. That's at least 3.
Oh, yeah. Well, the reason he had to make that play is he thought about diving. And then he got to the point where he was at the last second. He bailed on that thought and realized he was close to the baseball and had to scoop it that way.
Here's Paul DeYoung.
Could have laid back, but
double play ball. 6-4-3 double play. Mom is just shaking her head. She's got more airtime than Rick Horton the last 3 days.
It's okay.
And away we go here in the 8th, and a strike. The top of the lineup, Logan Forsythe, Corey Seager, and Yasmani Grandal. So once again, Martinez pitching late into a game. It's become now commonplace. You expect it.
You also expect the maintenance of velocity too, don't you, in late innings?
No doubt. .62 of the 95 pitches have been strikes. And a 2-1 pitch upcoming here to Forsythe.
Last pitch at 96. You just don't see diminished velocity from Carlos. Sometimes it gets faster. Forsythe had a big game here last night.
Martinez pitched into the 8th his last start, took a loss against Colorado. Little chopper hit to third. Jerko gloves, throws, one away. Let's go back to the double play to end the 7th.
I liked Seager coming in and getting the right hop. Then he gets settled. Throw gets in a little bit on Utley, but so important to have good communication and good connection between middle infielders, and they handled that well. We've seen pretty good defense in this game overall.
So his last 4 starts, including tonight, Martinez has pitched into the 7th. A crowd tonight, 40,304.
I say we've had good defense in this game, Dan, and we're talking about the 2 teams that are at the bottom of the National League as far as fielding percentage. The Dodgers now a bit worse than the Cardinals. They have the lowest fielding percentage, most errors of any team in the National League.
Sometimes a bit misleading because of range. Means you might be getting to more balls than other teams and committing errors on those baseballs. But I get your drift.
Or making up for it because you can get you can actually get putouts on or assists on plays that others don't get to. But errors still kill you.
That's the bottom line. And so do walks. It was a walk in the 6th with 1 out, nobody on. Came around to score against Martinez. That was Seager who's at the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fastball on the inside corner and struck him out. 99. There's that velocity that you're talking about. And strikeout number 8. Well, concerts like this weekend with Metallica in town or Cardinal games, just head to StubHub. Your ticket out to live events, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals. .100 on the gun with 2 outs here in the top of the 8th.
So this is like, you go on a nice long 10K race and you realize you got a little bit left at the end and you see the finish line and you just sprint towards the finish line and pass the other people who are panting. You know that feeling.
I actually do.
I know you do.
Also know that feeling to get
past.
No, first in line at Ted Drew's.
No, they're both good feelings. But that's where Carlos is right now. He is racing to the finish.
He is due up second for the Cardinals, looking ahead to the bottom half of this inning.
This might be 110.
Here's a 1-2. Got him. Ends it more than likely with a strikeout. 9 tonight for Carlos Martinez. Can the Cardinals get him a win? It'll be Diaz, Martinez's spot, then Fowler. Nasty stuff from Carlos Martinez tonight. Kickoff to summer weekend here at Busch Stadium. The Cardinals take on the Phillies. 30,000 fans, 16 and older, take home that shirt. So what happens is, if you're eating nachos and you have cheese that drops into that shirt,
no one will ever know.
Notice.
Yeah, that's right. It's great.
So you got to think outside the box and just how beautiful that shirt is.
Great application, Dan.
Come to the ballpark, watch a little baseball. Great start from Martinez. Take in some nachos. Let's see if the Cardinals can't get him a win. It's 1-1. 4 hits aside. Well pitched. Stripling in his second inning of work in relief of Ryu. Jose Martinez is at the on deck circle. Trevor Rosenthal getting loose in the Cardinals pen.
I'll say out loud what I was thinking in between innings here, as I knew Carlos's spot was coming up in the bottom of the 8th. There was a piece of me that's saying, boy, I'd like to have Matt Adams for this bottom of the 8th. I'm sure there are Cardinal fans thinking the same thing. That deal was made with an eye to the future. It was certainly made to help Matt get everyday playing time, which he was not going to get here. And I get all that, and the fact that 3 years down the road we'll be happy to have the guy that we got. But boy, I'd like to have Matt Adams right now.
For the immediate. Carlos Martinez, magnificent 41 strikeouts this month. A new monthly best for him, surpassing the 40 from May in 2015. And a 1-2 pitch to Diaz, who has been intentionally walked. Also flied out to center. 0 for 1. Back-to-back breaking balls, middle, outer half, seeing if he'll chase. So Rosenthal, if the game is tied, if the Cardinals take the lead. And before it's all said and done, you may see both. Here's a 1-2. Fouled back.
So what was Tony La Russa's wonderful saying about playing a game at home? We knew he would have a good day if he didn't have to play a bottom of the 9th.
Yeah.
That means Cardinals need to score here and not have to play the bottom of the 9th. That's your goal at home every night.
On 1-2, grounder that is foul. Diaz hustling down the line, trying to pick up another one of those infield hits. He's had a bunch of them this year.
We've seen the good curveball from Stripling. That's the pitch I like the best so far, but fastball, slider, curve change, normal repertoire. Our Hyundai pitch arsenal. Stripling has turned into a guy who could be a multi-inning, and that's what he's doing here, a multi-inning reliever. I think every team needs 1 or 2 of those guys. And not guys that can just throw 1 or 2 innings, but can be effective. I was disappointed, Dan, I'm sure he was too, with what Tyler Lyons did last night. I think the Cardinals hoped for more innings from him last night. He just wasn't able to get through that second.
Here's a 1-2. Diaz pops it up. Grandal throws the mask near the screen, and he makes the catch. Ted Savage RBI Golf Classic is coming up at Forest Park. That's June 6th. Each foursome has the opportunity to play with a Cardinals alumni player. All the proceeds from the tournament benefit the Reviving Baseball in Inner Cities program. That's RBI in St. Louis. Get involved. Visit Cardinals.com/RBI Golf.
Dan, that last pitch, another example of what we've been talking about. The Dodgers pitching up in the zone, and if your launch angle is upward on a pitch up in the zone, that's what you get, a pop up to the catcher. I think pitchers are starting to adjust to the fact that players are swinging up by pitching up, and once you pitch up, now those balls you make contact with are lazy fly balls or pop-ups.
Dodgers did that last week against the Cardinals. They pitched up in the zone in those games. Talked to Mark McGwire, the hitting coach of San Diego, about that, and he said one of the reasons that you're hearing more and more about launch angle is because of shifts and trying to get the ball over the infield.
Right. Well, that's definitely where it comes from. And guys are seeing they can do more damage when they get the ball in the air into the outfield, so it's a reasonable thing.
Jose Martinez pinch hitting for Carlos, who went 8 innings, 106 pitches, 70 of those were strikes. Hit 100 on the gun. Not a bad line at all. 9 strikeouts. And the 0-2. Taken high on a pitch that's up. Back to Stripling. 2 away. Cardinals got 2 hits in the second, 1 in the fourth, another in the seventh. So that's been it for the offense tonight. It was a double by DeYoung. You could say maybe misplayed by Taylor in center. He was spun around a little bit, playing very deep. Regardless, that double scored Tommy Pham. And Fowler looks at a pitch high for ball 1. Plaza Tire Service. A lot of this up and in.
The way I would describe that Taylor playing center is it's a play I thought he would catch because he was playing deep. If he wasn't playing deep, I thought that's a double over his head.
No
it was
question.
Well struck, but he's playing so deep that a little surprised he didn't come up with that.
2 balls and a strike with 2 outs and nobody on. For Fowler, 6 home runs this year. All have been from this side of the plate.
I believe last night at this time, Dan, we were in the bottom of the 3rd and the game started at 6.
Man. The 2-0. Fowler, a drive, deep right field. Track, wall, the lead. Dexter goes deep. A little fist pump and a chance and a win for Martinez. His 7th of the year. And it's 2-1 St. Louis. No doubter off the bat of Fowler.
What
Did the Cardinals need that?
Great moment.
Dexter Fowler with his 7th home run, his first since the series back here at Busch against San Francisco.
All of them from the left side.
Here's the 0-1 pitch.
All of them from the left side, and none more exciting than that one.
Boy, did they need that.
Considering where the Cardinals have been the last week, and what a jolt. 3 more outs to get in the top of the 9th. But what a great moment that was.
Here's a 1-1 to Carpenter. Out to left center. Taylor racing in, makes the catch. Seung-Hwan Oh is loose. He's ready. The Cardinals need a win. A curtain call for Dexter Fowler. 7th home run. He's driven in 19. None bigger than a moment ago. by Fowler. It's now a 2-1 St. Louis lead. 2-17 for the Dodgers when trailing after 8. How about for the Cardinals? 21-1 when leading after 8. O currently is third in saves in the National League with 11, behind Fernando Rodney of Arizona with 13, Holland with 19.
We've talked about the Cardinals bullpen, Dan, but where the bullpen has been strong has been Owen Rosenthal in innings 8 and 9, especially in the month of May. Both of them pitched very well in the last 4 weeks.
Here's Adrian Gonzalez. And the 1-0. Fly ball into shallow left. Long way to go. And a base hit. Pham sliding for it, but he holds Gonzalez to a single. Now, if you're the Dodgers, do you pinch run? As I say that, Gonzalez exits stage left, and Brett Eibner will be the pinch runner with nobody out.
Really good effort in left field by Pham. Gonzalez thinking that might be caught. No chance for a double for him. Pham on the slide is able to catch the ball on the short hop. That could have gotten past him easily. Pretty athletic play by Tommy Pham.
So Brett Eibner is your pinch runner. Here's Chase Utley. And the first pitch, a fastball that's hit out of play. Get the feeling this could be a dangerous matchup.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's because of the way Utley's swinging the bat.
And lefties hitting .318 this year. 2 of the 3 home runs have been hit by lefties against O.
That's why you have that feeling.
That slider is such a good pitch, but against a lefty it can be so dangerous too. If you don't finish it or you overthrow it and it spins or backs up, it's very hittable.
Pickoff try, and it actually gets caught up in the feet of Eibner.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Time was not granted to Utley. May notice that Utley is holding the bat a little bit lower this year, and also he's flattened it out, and the reason why he's trying to get it to be a little bit quicker. He's gotten older, swing a little bit longer, a little slower, but this man can hit. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Changeup. That lately has been a good pitch against the lefties.
It's always been a good pitch for him, and the question is, when do you use it and how often do you use it, and what count do you use it on? This changeup is actually up in the zone, which is often not the place you want it, but got him with a change of speed, so it wasn't a problem. Better one there.
Strikeout of Utley. June 15th, the U.S. Open. You can see it on Fox FS1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. So combined with the 9 strikeouts from Martinez, that's 10 in the lineup by the Dodgers. First for O. Here's Cody Bellinger. And a pitch taken inside. Bellinger has walked. He has struck out and lined out. And the 1-0 pitch. Hits his spot. 1-1. You can see Molina set up outside.
It's another matchup where you hold your breath a little bit, Danny. Only Adam Duvall with more RBIs in the National League in the month of May than this guy at the plate.
Fowler's home run has given the Cardinals his 2-1 lead. His 6th home run out of 7 this year, which have given the Cardinals a lead.
Can't let this ball get past you. Yachty smothers it to keep Eibner from advancing.
The Dodgers bounced into a double play back in the first inning. The 2-1 pitch. Good changeup. Again, we talk so much about pinpoint control of the fastball and a good slider, but this changeup really effective.
It's in a good spot. It's down, moving down.
The 2-2 pitch. Popped up. Oh, may have gotten away with that pitch. Who wants it? It'll be Fowler. The center fielder takes it.
I think he may have gotten away with it in a sense by the location, but I think he earned the right to get away with it by establishing such a good changeup.
What's on tap? Presented by Budweiser. Back at it again tomorrow. McCarthy 5-1, Wainwright 5-3 on the air at noon. Fans on their feet. 40,304 here tonight. The batter is Taylor. The Cardinals trying to snap their 3-game losing skid. Strike one. Taylor. A base hit off the glove of Jerko in the second. He is struck out and also flied out to right.
Guy takes a healthy cut. He has home run capability, 6 home runs. He's not going to get cheated.
And the 0-1. Now 0-2.
He wasn't cheated on that one either.
Carlos Martinez, Budweiser player of the game. He's trying to go to 500 with a 4-4 record. The 0-2 pitch.
And the Cardinals are trying to go 500 overall and for the month of May.
Here's a 1-2. Doesn't chase. 2-2. Long look by O. The 2-2 pitch. Doesn't chase again. And so with the 3-2 and 2 outs, Eibner's off with the pitch. The outfield very deep. Ball in the gap may score him.
Best pitch of the inning for O has been his changeup. Best pitch traditionally is his slider. So that's going to warrant a conversation. Baseball language going on right now on the mound.
Got him! The Cardinals hold on. A thrilling win. 2-1 the final. And they're back to 500 in game number 50. 25-25. Martinez the win. Fowler the home run in the 8th. And 2-1 the final here tonight.
Dexter Fowler providing the heroics. And the special moment in the bottom of the 8th, his home run, the difference in this game. Carlos Martinez, another terrific performance for him. Interesting moments in the 9th, but Sun Hwan Oh finishes it up.
Fun ball game here tonight. Martinez was just absolutely dominating through his 8 innings of work. The save for Sun Hwan Oh on a 3-2 pitch.
So what is he going to throw him? Goes right back to the slider, his bread and butter. 3-2 pitch.
And let's check in with Jim, who's down there with Dexter Fowler.
Solo shot by Dexter in the 8th wins it for the Cardinals. A 2-1 pitch. You got all of it, and you knew it too, didn't you?
Yeah, hit it well. Hit it well. You know, you go up to the plate, and you know, Carlos comes out in the 8th and does what he does, and you know, you got to try to reward a guy like that.
He hasn't had a lot to show for. Pitching very, very well. That matters to you guys, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. And you know, we feel like we let him down if we don't get a win for him when a guy pitches like that. You know, our whole staff has been doing that, and you know, we haven't been doing anything to reward him. So you know, hopefully this was a little bit of a reward.
Rough stretch for you guys too. A reward for you guys. You needed that, didn't you?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And you know, anytime you lose multiple games, and it's a good team over there. We beat a good team tonight, and we just got to go back and do it tomorrow.
Good job. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
All right, Dexter Fowler, guys.
All right, Jimmy, thank you. Thrilling win for the Cardinals. Dexter Fowler, the home run. The reaction of Martinez, he knew I might have a win here tonight. He does. 2-1 the final.